There are messes, train wrecks, and then unmitigated dumpster fires. Which category do you think the Houston Texans fit into? That last one. It's gotta be. I mean, it's gotta be. It was bad enough that you allowed Bill O'Brien to weasel his way into a massive amount of power in that organization for all of those 9-7 finishes. It was bad enough that you allowed Bob to sit there and ruin the fucking team with dumbass trades like the one for Laramie Tunsil, then the dumbass trading away of DeAndre Hopkins and not being able to get even one first-round pick in return for arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. It's bad enough you hung on to Bob as long as you did. But then you get to this offseason, the face of the franchise for the past decade, J.J. Watt, he's gone. It was an inevitability perhaps, but he's signed with the Arizona Cardinals. He's out of there. And then you get the whole Deshaun Watson saga. And not even talking about all the off-the-field accusations and allegations and whatever's going to come out of those. Just the whole mess of, not consulting with him not being happy with the situation, then him wanting to requesting a trade out, the Texans doing nothing to actually assuage the guy, and then all these allegations come out. I mean, what an actual dumpster fire this is. It's no surprise that they kind of had to go a different route to bring in a new head coach like a David Culley, somebody who wasn't really thought of as head coach material, somebody who wasn't really getting a ton of opportunities other than to maybe check the box. Because who would want this fucking job? Team was in a mess from a salary cap standpoint, had just traded away their top wide receiver, had just released, or was going to release, the face of the franchise in J.J. Watt. And you say, well, Deshaun Watson's the face of the franchise. Over the past decade, J.J. Watt was the face of the Houston Texans franchise. But the guy you're talking about that you pin so many hopes of the franchise on, Deshaun Watson, what a fucking mess. I mean, it's so bad. This is such a mess that the Houston Texans didn't have a first or second round pick this year. And that first round pick they didn't have was a top 3 pick to make matters even fucking worse. It was a top 3 pick. That's dumb. Trading away multiple first-round picks for another team's non-elite left tackle. Multiple first-round picks, and one of them ends up being a top 3 pick. Now that is some dumb dick stuff of the highest order. That's Bob all the way. But now you're heading into a situation where this team is legitimately poised, positioned, and ready to strike with Tyrod Taylor as their QB1. Tyrod Taylor. Oh, Deshaun Watson hasn't been released or traded or anything. He's still there. They're just paying him his fucking salary to not play. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine having a guy like Deshaun Watson paying all of that salary this year and not playing him? Yeah, maybe he wants to be out. Yeah, you got the off-the-field shit. But damn. Can you imagine? Does anybody look at this Houston Texans franchise and think there's any hope for it? Does anybody look at this situation with the Houston Texans and think this team is anything other than destined to finish with the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft? I mean, what possible argument could you have? What possible justification could you think up for saying that another team in the league on paper right now is going to finish with a worse record than this team this year? I mean, I'll go on record. If David Culley wins 5 or 6 games, let's say 6 games, with this garbage-ass roster, no Deshaun Watson, he is hands down the coach of the year. I don't care if you have somebody come out of nowhere and their team goes 16-1 or 17-0. Their coaching job will not be nearly as impressive as the challenges that face David Culley in this dumpster fire that is the Houston Texans. I mean, what makes you look at this roster and say this is a team that can win a bunch of games, a few games, or even a couple of games? Shit, can they win 2? Like, what's the over-under here on number of wins for the Texans in 2021? It can't be high, and you're probably thinking the under. What a fucking mess. Like, the best thing that could happen to this Houston Texans organization right now is that the off-field shit with Deshaun Watson is either bullshit or it goes away or it's settled away. Some team does come in to decide they want to trade for him. The Texans can recoup some of their previous losses, and they can go into next year with the number 1 overall pick, targeting potentially a quarterback, and with some other draft pick capital to rebuild this damn dumpster fire. That's about all you got. Even when you look at this team on paper, like, what's their strength? Drama? Like, that's the number 1 strength of this organization right now is fucking drama. It's not anything on the field. You got questions abound all over the place. Their run defense was last in the league last year. They sucked. Their pass defense wasn't much better. Who's going to fucking run the ball? How are you going to generate any offense? I mean, for Christ's sakes, you took Davis Mills in the 3rd round, and he stinks. That's why Tyrod Taylor is a starter. But again, I come back to the fact that Tyrod Taylor is your starter. This is not good. I mean, god damn, son. The hell? Like, I feel bad in a way for David Culley because, you know, a lifetime of working in the game, a lifetime of coaching, this opportunity comes up. There are only 32 head coaching jobs in the National Football League. And sometimes you're chasing a role and a paycheck versus a fit and happiness and ability to succeed or potential for success. And we've all done that, I think, with jobs at some point in time. Chase a bigger paycheck. Chase a promotion. Not always thinking about whether that's a good fit because our circumstances, our situations deem that we might be desperate for it or we might really, really want that. I wish him well, but I'll be impressed if he makes it through this season. He feels like a patsy, a fall guy here, somebody to kind of stem the tide and, be a transition or bridge guy, and that's unfortunate. It really is. Like, if you're looking at this schedule, like, what are you thinking? Week 1, they're hosting Jacksonville. Okay, well, Jacksonville's got Urban Meyer, so they've got some reason to be excited there. They've got a new head coach. They've got the number 1 overall pick. Trevor Lawrence is going to be starting game 1 for them. The Houston Texans and their fans and their players and their coaches are going to be looking at the sidelines and say, oh, Deshaun Watson's in street clothes. That's great. Whoopsie daisies. Week 3, they're hosting Carolina. I'm really reaching here, folks, because, yes, the Houston Texans are trash. Yes, it's very obvious. Yes, everybody knows this. But it's also not as fun to trash them because Bob's not there anymore. Like, at least when Bob was there, like, you had a very obvious punching bag. Here, it's more sad and pathetic than anything else. How could you let your relationship with the franchise quarterback deteriorate to this point that he wanted to request a trade out even before all of these allegations came to light? Holy shit. You know, so it's bad enough for the Texans and their fans. Like, you got to sit there week 12 and watch a Zach Wilson take you on. Week 15, you get a second dose of Trevor Lawrence. Like, maybe there in there are a couple of games that you could potentially sneak out wins. Maybe you have 1 or 2 opportunities throughout the course of the year where you could sit there and pounce on somebody because, you know, they'll be overlooking you or you'll be the trap game. And sometimes that works. Really hard in this league to go winless for an entire year. Jacksonville last year won their first game and then lost the rest. The Jets were trying to fucking tank and then found a way to win 2 games in a row like dumb dicks. It's very, very hard. The 2008 Detroit Lions, the 2017 Cleveland Browns, they're obviously the exceptions to the rule. Even really trashy, shitty, stupid, bad teams find a way in the NFL to win a few games every year. But if there is a team that seems positioned to win 1 or 2 games in this year's NFL season, it's got to be the Houston Texans. I don't know if they're so bad that they'll go winless, but, I mean, what do you look at for them and you say, man, there's a reason for hope here. There's nothing. And that's got to be the worst possible place to be in as a fan of a team. You've got the franchise quarterback, but he's not playing. You've got all types of problems off the field with him in terms of allegations and accusations, and you don't know if he's ever going to suit up for the team again. The guy that's been the face of the place for the past decade, he's gone. Last year, you traded away, one of the most dynamic weapons in the National Football League in DeAndre Hopkins. This sucks if you're a Texans fan. And I feel really bad for you. Because what did you do to deserve this? Is this your penance for allowing Bob to stay around too long? Well, it's not like it was your decision. You all knew he was a fucking dipshit and should have been gone 2 years ago. You're not the ownership, but, the only hope, I guess, if you're a Texans fan at this point, is it goes so badly that you get the number 1 overall pick, that there is a quarterback that you could start over with, you could trade away Deshaun Watson, get some draft pick capital, and hit the reset button. But even then, what are the odds that you can have a Deshaun Watson and then trade him away and then draft a quarterback and have him be at the same level of Deshaun Watson? Those odds are pretty steep and not in a good way. So good luck, Houston Texans fans. I feel like you're really, really going to need it this year.